Welcome to Laughing Headlines, the show where we dive into the most controversial and intriguing stories in politics, news, and beyond, with a witty twist. In today's episode, we're tackling the hypocrisy at the heart of Ghana's political landscape. The NPP is slamming the NDC's call for a forensic audit of the voter register, but what they seem to forget is that they made the same request back in 2015, and it was granted. Is this a case of selective memory, or just plain double standards? We'll find out. On Tuesday, September 17th, the National Democratic Congress (NDC) embarked on a nationwide demonstration dubbed "Enough is Enough" to demand for the forensic audit of the voters' register ahead of the December 7th polls. Not long after, Nana Boakye, the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party (NPP), has dismissed the National Democratic Congress (NDC) call for a forensic audit of the voter register. In his statement, Boakye criticized the NDC for failing to provide any legal basis for their demand. He referenced constitutional provisions and Supreme Court rulings that affirmed the Electoral Commission's independence and exclusive mandate to compile the electoral register. Boakye argued that the NDC's call violates the EC's independence and that their concerns should be addressed through the established Inter-Party Advisory Committee (IPAC), not through external audits. He urged the rejection of the NDC's demand to reinforce the EC's authority in overseeing elections. It is true that the EC is constitutionally mandated under Article 45 of the 1992 Constitution and the Electoral Commission Act 451 to compile and manage the electoral register. This mandate ensures that the EC operates as an independent body, free from external influence. So, by allowing a third-party forensic audit, the EC risks undermining its autonomy and setting a dangerous precedent where political parties could seek external interference whenever the results don't align with their expectations. So for the EC to uphold its independence, it is then very critical to maintain public trust in its impartiality. The EC already has in place established mechanisms, such as the Inter-Party Advisory Committee (IPAC), which allows political parties to voice concerns and address issues collaboratively. These mechanisms have functioned effectively throughout Ghana's electoral history, including during contentious elections, and have led to a series of successful elections. If the EC begins to cater to requests for external audits, it would suggest that these internal processes are insufficient when, in reality, they have proven capable of resolving disputes. Allowing a forensic audit may open the door to political manipulation. Political parties could seek to use such audits not necessarily to correct any legitimate issue, but to delay or discredit the electoral process when it does not favor their position. If audits become a routine response to electoral disputes, it could create an atmosphere of perpetual distrust in the voter register, destabilizing the electoral process itself. Earlier, the EC suspended Pusaiga District Electoral Officer for illegally transferring 38 voters. That reflects a balanced approach to addressing real issues within the electoral system. It demonstrates that the EC is willing to act when there is concrete evidence of wrongdoing. This also highlights a critical point. The EC has internal mechanisms to investigate and rectify issues without the need for external audits. In this case, the illegal transfer was identified and dealt with appropriately. This means that the EC has the tools and processes to address irregularities and that a forensic audit, in the absence of widespread or systemic fraud, may be unnecessary. Instead of involving third-party auditors, the EC can continue to rely on its established practices for ensuring electoral integrity, as seen with the swift action taken in Pusaiga. However, there's more in the following report.
The recent call by the National Democratic Congress (NDC) for a forensic audit of the voter register has sparked outrage from Nana Boakye, the national organizer of the ruling New Patriotic Party (NPP). He vehemently condemned the request, calling it unwarranted and empty, urging Ghanaians to reject it outright. But here's the twist: isn't this the same NPP that, in 2015, while in opposition, made a similar demand for a forensic audit of the voter register? Yes, the very party now brandishing the Constitution and Supreme Court rulings to defend the Electoral Commission's EC independence once cried out for the same third-party involvement they now so passionately denounce. Back in 2015, the NPP's demands were considered, and an audit of the register was conducted before the 2016 elections. Why was it acceptable then, but not now? Does the EC's independence only matter when it's politically convenient for the NPP? Boakye's reliance on Article 45 and Section 2 of the Electoral Commission Act is ironic, considering the NPP once questioned the EC's competence to compile a fair register. If a forensic audit was good enough to meet their demands in 2015, why is it suddenly a violation of the EC's independence in 2024 when the NDC makes the same request? The hypocrisy is glaring. What changed? Oh, right power. Now that the NPP holds the reins of government, their tune has shifted. The same EC whose impartiality they once questioned is now beyond reproach. The very notion of a forensic audit, which they once fought for, is now dismissed as an assault on democracy. Boakye's claims that the EC's independence cannot be infringed upon by any party would have sounded more convincing if his party had made a similar request just a few years ago. The NPP needs to be reminded that consistency is key in democracy. They can't enjoy the fruits of transparency when it suits them, then slam the door shut when others seek the same accountability. This is not just a case of selective, memory-it's blatant double standards. The NPP's response to the NDC's call reeks of political opportunism, and the Ghanaian electorate deserves better than this kind of manipulative rhetoric. If a forensic audit was justified in 2015, it's equally justified today. Let's not pretend otherwise.
And that brings us to the end of this episode. The double standards in Ghana's political scene shows how the NPP's stance on voter register audits has flipped with time and power. Whether it's 2015 or 2024, transparency should be for everyone. Thanks for joining us as we laughed through the irony and truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening and entertaining takes on the headlines. Until next time, keep laughing and keep thinking.